ఆ ఏం వినిపిలామే సౌండ్కి ఏంది
Recording in progress.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So, last session we discussed about functions, right? We learned about working with functions, all the basic things related to functions. Next, after understanding functions, now in JavaScript, you need to know about the OOP concept, object-oriented programming. Actually, what is object-oriented programming? Simple point I will tell you. Generally, real-world application development uses various programming techniques. So, real world application development uses various programming techniques like generally we have POPS, OBPS, and OOPS. These are three major programming systems. So we have POPS is actually process oriented programming system. What is advantage of this POPS is in process oriented programming system, it supports low level features. What is advantage of supporting low level features? It can directly interact with hardware services. That means keyboard, mouse, it can directly interact with hardware. So it uses less memory, and it is faster in access. So process oriented programming system have all these advantages. It is lightweight, it uses less memory, it is more faster in access, it can directly interact with hardware services and all. Example is C, Pascal, COBOL. All these comes under category of POPs. So what is advantage of these? They use very less memory. They are faster in communication. They can directly interact with hardware. But what are the drawbacks is? So issues: code reusability, code separation, extensibility, dynamic memory. All these are the issues. These are all the problems. That means they don't have good code reusability. They don't have good separation. Extending code is difficult. Dynamic memory allocations are not good. All these are the drawbacks. Then for developing large scale applications, these are not good. But these are used in very advanced areas also, but according to requirement. For example, we have some air condition, washing machine, microwave. We have to control them through a program. That means you have a remote. Through remote you can operate. You have to operate the fan speed. You have to operate the rotation style. That means the program must directly interact with hardware. It should control the fan. It should control the compressors. So, and in a oven or in a washing machine or in a air condition, a small chip is present. In that chip, all the program is stored. And that you know that just like in your phones, any app you update every few days. TV, these washing machines, ovens, refrigerators, they don't. At the time when you purchased, what is there, fix it. Only that will be there. Can you add new features into it? No. You cannot add new features. So technically, they had to be operated with a small memory. They need to directly interact with hardware. For that, Java, .NET, C++, these will not fit. For that, very lightweight, which can directly interact with hardware, such languages are required. I hope you know embedded systems, they use C language, including Pascal. Pascal is very high scientific language. Space research, such defense, weather forecast, such things are controlled satellites, all these Pascal. They mostly use Visual Pascal. So technically, these are very high level, but not suitable for everyone, depending on requirement. So these are all called POPs, Process Oriented Programming System. We have OBPS. OBPS is Object Based Programming System. Object Based Programming System, they support code reusability. So they support code extensibility. They support code separation. They support code separation. So they support extensibility but not dynamic polymorphism. No dynamic polymorphism. Polymorphism. What is dynamic polymorphism? I will tell in the next level. We will discuss. Then you will understand what is dynamic polymorphism is, right? So extensibility but no dynamic polymorphism. So OBPS have a dynamic memory. That means supports dynamic memory. When compared to object-oriented, when compared to the process-oriented, these are little better. But so example for this, we have Visual Basic, we have JavaScript. JavaScript comes under this category, OBPS, Object-Based Programming System. Now, what are the issues with this? Issues are nothing but, so the major issue is, so dynamic polymorphism. We will see what is dynamic polymorphism later. Code level security. That means no code level security. Code level security and contracts, all these are not there. What are contracts? Later in OOP languages you will learn. So contracts means actually we can say rules for defining components. These are called as contracts. These are all not perfect. So these are the issues with the help of OBPS, object-based programming. So you can achieve code reusability, you can achieve separation, you can achieve extensibility, but you can achieve dynamic memories you can use them. But there is no dynamic polymorphism, there is no code level securities, contracts, there are no contracts. These are all some issues. What are contracts and polymorphism? What is meant by code level security? You are going to learn, you will see that. So these are issues with OBPS. Then we have, so OOP, this is object oriented programming system. Object oriented programming system. It supports code reusability. It supports code separation. It supports extensibility. So it supports security, code level security. All these are supported. It supports dynamic polymorphism. All these are supported. Contracts, all these are supported in OOPS. Object-oriented programming supports all these things. Example, you know C++, like Java, like C#. These are all object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming also have drawbacks. What are the drawbacks of OOPs? Issues with object-oriented programming is, one of the main drawback is they don't support low-level features. That means they cannot directly interact with the hardware. They use more memory. They are slow in access. So these are all the drawbacks of OOP. That is the reason you cannot say that OOP is best. That depends on requirement. For example, just now as I told you, in a in a refrigerator or a washing machine or a air condition, you can't put Java program. That memory is not enough. They can't directly interact with hardware. That's the reason. For example, you see, we have mobiles. Android. Do you know Android uses which language? Java. It uses core Java. It is. Android uses Java as language. Now you have Java is an OOP language. Now you have an Android phone. You have a Symbian phone. Symbian means not a smartphone, characters, only character mode. Now you turn on these two phones. These character modes will get ready first. It will never hang up. It is fast in responding. Your Android takes time to load. So your Android takes time to respond. Sometimes it hangs up. So the point is, if you are concerned about features, then you have to compromise with speed. You have to compromise with memory. For example, you see operating systems. To operate computer, I hope many of you people know. Do you know early days? Means in early, I'm talking about before Windows came. So that means Windows became operating system actually from 95. Before 1995. So we used to operate computer with a floppy. Computer is operated with a floppy, with an operating floppy, with an operating system called DOS. DOS operating system. Do you know floppy capacity? 1.44 MB. In that floppy, we have an operating system. We have all softwares. We have our files, personal files also. Now in 1 MB, nothing will be there. One photo itself will be 4 MB, 3 MB, right? That means we used to operate computers with floppy also. But how it will be? Character mode. That means no graphics, no mouse, no effective interactions. That means a computer can be operated with just 1 MB floppy drive. And earlier they have to do that. Why people attracted towards Windows or graphic interface? Photos, animations, graphics, now later touch interactions. These are all important. That means if even today, so you can see some old machines still can run on these devices. They are running. We have softwares. For example, you may ask like how they prepare letters, how they prepare documents. We have softwares like WordStar. From this WordStar only, this MS Word came. So it runs in character mode, WordStar. Earlier, we used to have Lotus. From this only MS Excel came. Right? So we have graphical mode attractive. But before that also, we used to prepare letters. We used to prepare tables, documents, data, everything. For that means you need facilities, then you need more memory. Now, only Windows operating system occupies approximately 6 GB. Only OS operating system, you need minimum 6 GB. So, operating means one of the major problem with OOP. Why? Because do you know Windows is designed by using? Windows operating system. It is completely designed by using VC++. Visual C++. This is the language used for developing Windows. Windows completely built with this language. MS Paint, Notepad, WordPad, everything, calculators, everything in Windows is designed by using VC++, Visual C++. Actually, complete Windows uses a technology of .NET. Windows is using .NET. In every computer you can open. In your Windows computer you can open. So, and go to, programs, add remove programs is there. So you go to add remove programs. This is add remove programs we have. You will find lot of program in control panel also you will be finding. So you can see in these programs you will find Visual C++, Microsoft Visual C++. You will find in every computer. You don't need to install because it is what used for Windows. So Visual C++ will be there everywhere. So technically it is built with that Visual C++. So you need more memory. So you need speed, high capacity RAM. Otherwise your devices will not properly work. So that is the drawback of OOPS. That is the reason we cannot use OOP language everywhere, depending on requirement and situation. So is JavaScript OOP language? JavaScript is not a OOP language, but it supports. So JavaScript is not object-oriented programming. So it supports few features of object-oriented programming. So it is not a complete OOP language. It doesn't come under category of OOP. It supports some features of OOPs. That is the reason if anybody says JavaScript OOP concepts, okay. But if anybody says JavaScript is OOP language, not. JavaScript is not OOP language. It supports some of the features of OOP. Then perfectly what it is. It is object-based programming system. It is object-based programming system. It is not a complete object-oriented programming system. So we can say it is object-based programming system. It is object-based programming system. So not OOP, right? So, but generally some features of OOP are supported. That is the reason everywhere people tell that these are OOP concepts. There are OOP concepts, but not complete. So limitations are there. So technically JavaScript supports some features of OOPs, right? Just a simple evolution I will tell you, means how these OOP languages came. Actually, evolution is just a small history about this. Is actually in the early 1960s, Alan Kay. So Alan Kay introduced the concept of object into computer programming. The concept of object introduced by Alan Kay in early 1960s. He introduced the concept called object. I already told you, object means keeps all related data and logic together. We learned JSON, JavaScript object notation. So object was first introduced by Alan Kay. After that, in early 1967, Johan Ole and Christian Nygaard, these two people designed code object-oriented programming with a language called Simula. they designed by using a language called simulation systems actually. So the first object oriented programming language was designed by these two people, Christian Nygaard and Johan Ole. These two people introduced the first OOP language, that is simulation system. Actually, what was the main concern? So code reusability. Code reusability concerns. The main concept was code reusability. How to achieve code reusability? Actually, Simula 67 is the name of that language, first language, Simula. We call actually Simula 67. So they introduced the concept of code reusability. They introduced the concept of OOP. Why? Because simulation system means actually these people were working on simulation system. Simulation system means they were working on a computer which have several processors. Usually computer will have only one processor. All your computers have only one processor, laptop or anything. You may heard about dual processor. It's not dual processor, it is dual core processor. Dual core processor means two cores in one processor. Those are called dual core processors. Every computer will have only one processor. Only one processor will be there. Then which computer will have more than one processor? I hope you know there are many computers, mainframes, you know, mainframes, supercomputers. These computers will have multiple processors. Mainframes and supercomputers will have multiple processors. Mainframes and supercomputers, I hope you might have seen, they are very huge. That means they occupy a building space, very huge mainframes. And so I will show you image. Mainframes and supercomputers are very huge. Yeah. Mainframe computer usually looks like this. This is mainframe. This is mainframes. These are mainframes actually. They are very huge actually. A mainframe looks like this. Very huge. IBM designed the first mainframes actually. IBM is one of the popular manufacturers of mainframes. IBM mainframes is a very high level concept. IBM mainframe developers means they are very genius, very strong, very advanced. Networking, they belong to hardware and networking. IBM mainframe is a very separate course actually. They are the people involved in handling these computers. Right? So that is very huge. Very rarely nobody learns also. Why? Because means nobody immediately learns, because usually it will take 1-2 years time to finish the course of mainframe. And he must be very good in hardware networking. So, and these people are very rare. Very rare. So this is mainframes. These are mainframes, very huge. Supercomputers are more high level. I hope you know. In India we have 5 supercomputers, 5 only. So Param 10,000, Cray 1, Cray 2, Eka. Eka is the India's latest supercomputer. So they are very huge, right? We use in weather forecasting, defense, and space research everywhere. These are very huge. Now these have our supercomputer is Param supercomputer. Yeah, Param is the supercomputer. This is Param 10,000 and all this. This is our Param supercomputer, very huge. It is very huge one. So this is very huge. It occupies some rooms of space actually. This is right. This is Param. This is very huge. So these are generally used in space research, defense, and weather forecasting. So if you have watched the movie Nambi Narayan movie is there. So new movie was there, Madhavan's new movie. So Param, you can see him, who is the architect of that computer, supercomputer. His name is Param. So the computer is named after him. So he is the genius of supercomputer, India's own supercomputer. So actually, you can see him. He worked with all these people, right? So these computers. One of the main concept about these computers is how this computer will start if it is having more than one processor. They use a mechanism called simulation system. Simulation system means first processor 1 will start. Then it will invoke the processor beside it. After that, it will invoke the processor beside it, like a chain. So it connects. Finally, everyone will start. That is how the process happens actually. That means it takes so much time to get ready. These computers take so much time to get ready. Now, the point here is, this is called simulation system. In this kind of architecture, these two people were working. And what is the problem they faced is, they have to write some code. And this code they have to use everywhere. Then what they have to do, they need to rewrite this code everywhere again and again. Then they invented one logic. Keep this code at one place in the memory and access that code using an object everywhere. Wherever they need, they can create an object. Through that object, they can access this code. So without rewriting, what they can do, they can reuse. That is why first their OOP implementation was on this simulation systems. On this language, they implemented it. After that, what was the main concept? Code reusability. After that, what happened is, in early 1970s, another person, Trygve, he introduced code separation. Code reusability was introduced by these two people. Code separation was introduced by Trygve. He introduced code separation. Actually, he invented, means he designed. He is the architect of a framework called MVC. He is the architect of a framework called MVC. MVC is actually Model View Controller. He invented this architecture. With this architecture, we can reuse the code. We can cleanly separate the code. That means data related code is at one place. That is model. So user interface is in another place. That is UI. And logic, which is need to interact between data and UI, that is controller. So earlier, all the code was at one place. He introduced this architecture and it separates the code into three. Model means data, view means UI, and controller means the application logic. So he invented. Even all advanced technologies are following this architecture. Even today, the popular architecture in software development, MVC and microservices. Currently trending is microservices. Microservices and MVC are very popular architectures in the current generation of software development, every technology. So Java uses MVC. Java uses MVC by name Spring. Java MVC is Spring actually. PHP uses MVC by name Cake PHP Code Igniter. Python uses MVC. Python uses MVC by name Django, Flask. Ruby uses MVC by name Ruby on Rails. Ruby on Rails. .NET uses MVC by name ASP.NET MVC. MVC. JavaScript is using MVC by name JavaScript Spine. Angular is using MVC. Backbone is using MVC. All the technologies are using MVC. Every technology in the current generation is using this MVC. So the first concept was only code reusability. After that, code separation. Actually, Trigue introduced MVC with a language called Smalltalk. So by using first one, OOP language was similar. After similar, Smalltalk. Smalltalk is used for code reusability, code separation. After that, in 1970s, C++ came. After that, Dennis Rich, Ken Thompson, these people developed a C language and C++. They introduced B first. After B, C language came. After that, in 1990s, Java made it popular. Java, OOP concepts. After that, in 2003, .NET, C# made popular OOP. Now, one of the most trending OOP languages, these three. These three are the topmost languages in the world currently. So that is C++, Java, and C#. Suppose you see, let's say Google. So here, most trending languages, programming languages. Programming languages we search here. Actually, in the programming languages, actually the official trends are Stack Overflow, TOBIE index. This is TIOBE. This is actually software people follow this TIOBE index very much. And these are the people who make official ratings. So means this is software community actually. They make the official ratings based on how many people are using, how they are using everything. Suppose I will allow. Yeah. Now you can see here, they will show you some languages and TOBIE index. You see, these are the languages. Python, C, Java, C++, C#, Visual Basic, JavaScript. That is the order of trending. But you cannot simply say only these people's what they say is trending, right? So there are so many others, but on average, so the most trending in the current market are these languages. You can even go to Google Trends also. Google Trends will be there. Software developers mostly follow Stack Overflow. I hope you know it. Stack Overflow, right? Stack Overflow. So they will do a survey here, developer survey. This is Stack Overflow developer survey. Yeah, I see this is surveys there. Means a small chart they will give. Later I will show you. Yeah. So this is the trending languages. A graph will be there somewhere, right? Later I will show you. Yeah, this is what programming scripting markup languages. Yeah, so yes, here you can see the trend of these. This is general. This is based on cost actually. That means this is actually complete graph. If you have time, you see. That means it shows that in these graphs, they will show which language people, how much average salary they are getting, which technology have most salaries. All these will be there actually. These are version controls which are popular languages. This is Web3. Employment wise, how later you go through them. Here you will find a category about languages also. Which one is mostly used? A graph will be there. So much, it is so much to load. Right? Actually, according to majority of all these statistics, currently most trending JavaScript always it will be JavaScript, C++, Java, C Sharp, and Python. Python is also very much. So technically, this is the evolution of OOP. First, it was similar. After that, Smalltalk. After that, C++. Then Java. Then C Sharp. These are the most trending OOP languages actually. Now, is JavaScript OOP language? No. It supports some features of OOP, right? Now, in this JavaScript OOP concepts, object-oriented, first thing you have to learn about JavaScript modules. This is the first thing we have to know. In object-oriented programming, the first concept you have to know is about module. Technically, what is a module? Module is nothing but a module is a collection of variables, functions, and classes. So a module is a collection. A module is a collection of variables, functions, and classes. So a set of variables, functions, and classes all together are kept in a module. For example, actually, so we are using our project here. In this project, let's see. So we are using a project. In this project, suppose this is a function HTML page. Yeah, I'm adding a simple JavaScript file. Let's add here in scripts. There is demo.js. It is a JavaScript file. Now, actually, the JavaScript file name is demo.js. This entire file is called as module. The JavaScript file is considered as a module. It is a module. The module name is demo. That means the file name is used as module name. So what is the purpose of module? You can keep all your variables here. Suppose username is equal to some John. Suppose you can put all your functions here. So function, suppose print name. So is or simply hello. Hello is a function. So it returns hello and the username, whatever username is there. Currently we learned only variables and functions. Later in module, we can put classes. Now, what is the module name? So module is demo. Demo is the module. In this demo module, you have two members. What are those? Username, another hello. Username is variable and hello is a function. So a module encapsulates variables, functions, and classes. What is advantage of this? What is the purpose of module? So a module allows to build a library for application. It allows you to build a library for application. What is the advantage of library? So what is the purpose of library? Library is what? Is a set of values and functions which you can import and use from any location. That means it enables reusability of code. That is the primary aim of Hoop language. The primary aim of Hoop language is reusability. How we can reuse the code? By creating modules. The modules will enable to reuse the code. We can reuse the code by using this, right? So modules contains set of values and functions. And what is advantage? We can import and use from any location. We can import the module and use from any location. I will show you that. So how we can import and use from any location. So it enables reusability of code. But very important is JavaScript modules requires a module system. Without module system, modules will not work. And very important is every browser, that means popular JavaScript module systems are, we have module systems like CommonJS is a module system. We have Require.js is a module system. We have UMD, Universal Module Distribution. We have AMD, Asynchronous Module Distribution. These are all different module systems. Very latest module system is actually ES. ES also module system. ES is nothing but ECMA script. It is ECMA. This is also a module system, recent module systems. So without these module systems, the JavaScript modules cannot work. What is advantage is actually every browser inbuilt have a module system. That is one good advantage. So every browser have a inbuilt module system so that browser can understand modules, but you have to tell the browser that it is module. If you don't tell the browser it is a module, then it thinks like an ordinary JavaScript. Then it cannot work. So you have to tell browser that I am sending a module. Then it starts using module system. If you don't tell that, then module system will not work. And we installed already Node.js. Node.js already have a module system. CommonJS, UMD, these two are module systems inbuilt available with Node.js. So if you are using Node.js in any computer, so along with Node.js, you will get module systems. If JavaScript is separately used, not with HTML, Already we learned JavaScript is used server side database. There they have to install separate module systems. But if JavaScript is used in browser, then you don't need these module systems. But just you have to tell the browser that invoke module system and use it. Every browser have JavaScript module systems, right? So technically, these module systems are important to use modules. Now, how this works actually? So, what a module contains. So, every module comprises of three things. What are those? Variables. So, another one, functions. Another one, classes. It contains three. And every member in a module is private in access. That means you cannot access outside. So if you want to access outside the module, then you have to mark with the export keyword. We have to mark with export keyword. That means here you see we have a username. Here we have a function. These are not accessible outside. They can be accessed only here. Currently username I want to access here only, so no problem. But this function I want to access outside, then it is not suitable. Then what we have to do is we have to mark it as export. So every member, even a variable also can be marked as export. But here, this variable is used inside this function only here. So then we don't need to export. We can just keep, so this function export. A module can have any number of functions. A module can have any number of functions. Currently, we have only one function. You can have any number of functions. Export, so function, and welcome is another function. And what we will do, so welcome to JavaScript. This message should come. JavaScript, oops, object-oriented programming. This is what we are giving. Now this is one function, another one, this is another. Now a module, what is the module name? Module name is demo. And we can configure any number of functions, but if you want to access them, you have to define export. Now how to access this and use in a page? How to access and use in a page? Let's see how to access and use in a page. Generally, to access and use in a HTML page, make sure first where this page is. That means where is the page? In public, there is a page, functions. Okay, in that I want to use, right? So, okay, now what I will do is I will write here a simple HTML page. Now, in this we have a paragraph. P is paragraph. Now, generally, if you want to access a file, a logic from any file, JavaScript file, what you have to do? We have to link that JavaScript file. But now, not necessary. If you are using a module system, without linking the file, we can access the logic in that file. That is what module system is. If you go on linking every file, already you know the problem. What will happen? If there are many files in a page, then number of requests will increase. Now, we don't need to do that. Simply in the script, we have to just use import. Import what? The function. What is the function? We have two functions here. One is hello, another one welcome. So import hello and welcome. From where? The path. It is in dot dot slash because it is outside the current folder. It is in src in that scripts. In that, what is the file name? Demo.js. From there we are importing. Remember, we are not importing this file. We are just telling from that file, import these functions. Now they are ready. Now just we have to use them. So hello is printing some message. Welcome is printing some message. We want to print them in this paragraph. Then what to do? Document dot query selector, document dot query selector, paragraph. In the paragraph inner HTML, here first we will put hello function. After that, in the next line, we will put welcome. We will put welcome function. So welcome. Hello is returning a string. Welcome is also returning a string. So that is done. That is done here. But now your browser thinks this is JavaScript, ordinary JavaScript, and it will ask what you are importing. I can't understand any import, export, right? You see, when we run this now in the output, so there is nothing to display in the output. There is nothing to display. Let's go to inspect. In the inspect, let's go to the console. In the console, you will see there is an error. It says that cannot use import. Cannot use import outside a module. Cannot use import outside a module. That is the message it is showing. Cannot use import outside module. That means now in that I can't use this import. Why? Because I am thinking that this is ordinary JavaScript. But you have to tell the browser that it is not ordinary JavaScript. It is using a module system. So we have to mention the type as module. Script type as module. Once the script type as module. Now you can see here generally script type module. We have one more option here. Fail to read session storage, access is denied. This is related to some accessibility of some functions and options available. Actually, there is no problem in this. So there is some problem in the cookies allowing of module systems and all. Let's check here. Allow the cookies. So then we have to refresh this and we are importing here. So in that file name is what? Scripts slash, right? In that demo.js. And you can see now it is working fine. It will display that. That means we are not importing any file. Just we are importing the functions. If the type is not module, if the type is not module, then it cannot understand. It's compulsory that the date type of the script must be module, then only it will work. Now, suppose there is another module. Let's go to the scripts and add another file called math.js, take a comma b, and it returns a plus b. Like this we define. Now I am trying to import this function. It is not marked as export now. So I haven't marked as export. We have to import another. Import what? We have to import addition. Addition from where? from /src /script /math.js. And in the next line, I want to print addition. Addition is equal to, we have to call addition function in that 10,40. We are accessing that and displaying. Now you can see in the output, it is not displaying anything. Inspect and see. Now you have a problem here. So in the console, observe, and in the console it says, so the requested module does not provide any export name. By name what? Addition. Why? Because there is addition, but it is not accessible outside. Why? Because it should be marked as what? Export. It should be marked as export. Now it is available. It can access and use it. That is what actually it can do. This is module system. In real world projects everywhere, this is what we do. That means we will not link the JavaScript files. That means if your work is majority client side. So because these days 80% of web development is client side, 20% server side. Earlier this ratio was reverse. 80% we use server side, now client side, 20%. That is the reason now .NET, Java developers, everybody have to learn front end. They need to be very strong in front end because 80% development is now in front end. Only 20% in that. So they have to be very perfect in these technologies because majority is everything through this. Now here we are using this module systems. Now what is the point in any JavaScript based technology? First we build a library. So library contains collection of modules. Every module contains collection of values and functions. What is advantage? Now if I want to use this addition in another page, then there I have to import and use it. Import and use it. Now see here, important is, let's go to network category. Network category. Network, where is it? Yeah. In the network category, now I will refresh here. So when I refresh, you see it is showing, actually, it is showing 4 requests are there. That means it is showing 4 requests. Let's increase. You can see it is showing 4 requests. In that, one request is for this, another for this, another for this. But have we linked those files? We are not linking the files. Without linking the files, it is able to request the files. This is what another concept called bundles. That means in bundles, so with one request, several files are accessed and they are managed, right? You are not linking them. This is not linking. This is just importing. Importing. Linking is different again. Linking means the file will come. In that there is no need to any export. Just directly you can use the functions. But that will be heavy on application. That is the reason we always follow modules. So here we have to configure. Every member need to be defined as export. So syntactically how? So export, function and name. We need to define that. Now here we have suppose demo.js. Now what is the module name? So module name is what? Demo. And a function name is what? Some name. Now how to use that? So you can import and implement any function of a module, any function of a module. How to do that? We have to use syntactically, we need to define import and the function name and from the module name. Module name is what? Demo.js. That is the module name. Here, very important. So a module can have any number of functions. Is it mandatory that every function must be export? Not necessary. Only the functions that you want to use outside, they need to be marked as what? Export. Others you can define without export. One more point is that. So functions. So functions in a module. Functions in a module can have one default export. Can have one default export. This is important. Another default export. So functions in a module can have one default export. That means in a module, only one function can be marked as default. What is advantage of default is default enables so eager loading actually enable functions use lazy loading. Lazy loading is always good. Lazy loading means what? It is loaded only when it is used. If it is loaded even if it is not in use, then it is called eager loading. Some functions we want to load into memory directly and ready. Before we start using, they must be ready. Such functions we mark as default. That means you see here, hello and welcome to functions are there. Currently, these are lazy loaded. Lazy loaded means they will load only when you call them. But in this demo, one function such as suppose welcome, you can mark it as default. If you mark as default, now you cannot put in curly brace. The default functions will load automatically. That means what is the meaning of this one? Curly brace block. Block means it will tell when to start, when to stop. When to start and when to stop. If it is default, it will start automatically when the module loads. It will stop automatically when the module ends. You don't need to start. It will start automatically. That is the reason welcome cannot be written in block now. You see now there will be error. So you see one error. It says, so welcome, it cannot load. Why it cannot load welcome? Because welcome is default. If it is default, then you have to remove from this block and you have to write comma outside welcome. Like this you have to write. And the default members must be first, after that others. That means you have to put the default member like this. What is it? Welcome, comma. All other functions you can put inside curly brace, but this must be outside. Can we have one more default? No. Every module can have only one default. Others can be not default, right? That means now you can see it is working fine. Otherwise, it will show problem. So can we have one more default? We cannot have. Any number of functions must be defined within the curly brace. Only the default functions must be defined without. Why? Because they will use eager loading. So you don't need to tell when to start, when to stop. They will start automatic, they will end automatic. That is burden for memory if you don't want any operations. But sometimes some operations are designed in such a way that they need to get ready immediately when module is ready. In that case, we have to keep with what? Default. So we need to syntactically write like this: export, default, function, and name. Now how to import it? So now we have to import. So the name and from module name demo.js. Like this we have to define. If I keep import and name, so from demo.js, this will be invalid. So this will be invalid. It will not work. It will not work because if it is marked as default, there cannot be start and end. You cannot define start and end. If it is marked as default, you have to define like this. So, and one more important, default import must be before other members. So default import must be before other members. So after importing other members, you cannot have a default, right? This is example. So what is the example I given here? First, what we have to do, go to src scripts folder. After that, add following files. What are the files? One is demo.js. In demo.js, this is the code. So this is the code in demo.js. I'll remove this. Okay. Yeah. Another file is math.js. In math.js, this is the code. We are defining that. Next point. So go to some page, HTML page, some page, index.html or some page. Here we have to import this logic. That is the logic I am giving here. First we have to import, then we have to implement. Right? That is basically how we configure. This is called modules. Actually, we call this as module systems. Different types of module systems are there. And by default, we are using compilation in browser. That is the reason any module system need not to be installed. But later when you are using JavaScript modules in separate project, remember Angular, React, Node.js, all these technologies use JavaScript modules. Everywhere library is used through modules only. So if you are going to learn the further advanced technologies in JavaScript, everyday work will be with modules only. That means you have to get the library from modules, import them, implement them, and use. So you should be very perfect with these terms. What is export, what is import, and what is default. This is module. Now in a module, what are the concepts you have seen? In a module, you have seen how to put, generally how we can put the values and how to put the functionality. Values are defined by using variables. Functionality is defined by using functions. Actually, we learned latest technique. What is the technique? Arrow methods and all. Generally, what happens? Suppose this hello function so is, let's write in a shortcut way. How? Constant. So hello is equal to, it's a function. So what it returns? It returns hello. So Mr. and whatever username is there. Like this we define. This is the new technique now. Now remember, it is saying hello is not there. Hello is not there. It is saying hello is not there. Hello is not there. Why? Because it is not having export. Where to mention export now? So for constant, I am using export. I am using constant export. Now it is working. Now, are you exporting function here? No, we are exporting a variable. We are exporting a variable. Actually, there are some other techniques. Suppose we defined like this. So it is not working. Now at the end, I'm using, so export hello. I'm using like this. So when I'm configuring that export hello, that means we are trying to use this export. Means somewhere outside I am writing here. Now you can see it is not allowed. But this type of technique is also allowed. For that, we need to learn some more module systems. Then what you will do is you can write the classes and the functions. You can export them at the end. At the end, that technique I will tell you. For that, we need to learn class. So it is not necessary that you have to write before this. Later you will see that, right? For that, we need some more architecture to understand. Then we can handle that, right? So this is basically how we can export. Actually, suppose there is here also we defined remote this. It is not there. Generally, what we do, export. What is the function? Welcome. So here we are defining welcome. So actually, export default and that welcome. We are configuring like this. So now here what we are configuring, we are using export. So export, this is export hello and export welcome. It is same. So that means this type of export technique can be used for members which are default. If they are default, can everyone be default? No, that means one member can be default. Then you can use this kind of technique. Then in that case, you can simply write this, what we are defining. Suppose I am writing here constant. What is it? Welcome is equal to, it is a function. What is the function doing? This function is returning this functionality. Means it is returning this functionality. That's how we are defining. You don't need this one anymore. Now you can see this is shorthand technique. Now it is same. So these are shorthand techniques. That means, can we define for every function like this? No. Which are default, we can configure. It's not necessary that you have to define for the function itself. So variables also can be there. Just I will give here example. That is example arrow technique. Huh? This is example for arrow functions in a module. How to export them in a module, how we can export and how to define. Right. Now, once you know these are variables and functions and modules, now in real world, at a higher level, directly we don't put functions and variables. We put classes. Now you need to learn what is a class and how this class works. Classes in UP languages. That we'll see tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow we will continue with this. Right? And we will discuss how the classes are designed and how classes work. Right? Yeah.